Welcome to the UK Travel Planning Podcast. Your host is the founder of the UK Travel Planning website, Tracy Collins. In this podcast, Tracy shares destination guides, travel tips, and itinerary ideas, as well as interviews with a variety of guests who share their knowledge and experience of UK travel to help you plan your perfect UK vacation. Join us as we explore the UK from cosmopolitan cities to quaint villages, from historic castles to beautiful islands, and from the picturesque countryside to seaside towns.
Hi, and welcome to episode 1 of the UK Travel Planning Podcast. This is the place to be if you're planning a trip to the UK or simply want to learn more about visiting England, Scotland, Wales, or Northern Ireland. In future episodes, we'll talk about some of the most popular UK destinations and some hidden gems too, share practical tips, including how to get around the UK with a particular focus on train travel, plus discuss culture and history. You will discover valuable tips and insights to help you plan your UK itinerary and make the most of your UK vacation. In this episode, I thought I would introduce myself and share some information about my background. My name is Tracy Collins. I was born in the northeast of England in Northumberland 50-something years ago. I lived in England until I was 13 before emigrating with my family to South Africa. Before that, though, I already had a deep love for travel. I can remember when I was about 7, my grandmother bought me some cards of destinations around the world, and I loved that pack of cards. It seems at age 7, I already had a travel wish list, with 2 destinations I particularly wanted to visit. The first was Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco, and the other was Table Mountain in Cape Town, South Africa. I actually did stand at the top of Table Mountain when I was 16, but it took me until I was age 49 to get to San Francisco. After finishing university in South Africa, I knew I wanted to travel. So I moved to France, where I worked as an au pair for nearly 2 years. I then spent my 20s traveling and working around the world. During those years, I lived and worked in Toronto, Canada, Basel, Switzerland, Gaborone in Botswana, London, England, and traveled to many more amazing destinations. I learned a new language, French, and I forged lifelong friendships. In my late 20s, I moved back to the UK, where I settled for 20 years. I first lived in London when my daughter was born, before moving to Northumberland, where I completed my teacher training and qualified as a secondary school history teacher. After a year of teaching in the Northeast, we moved to the Midlands. Over the next few years, my daughter and I travelled during the school holidays, visiting destinations including Malta, which I fell in love with and still I love to this day. It's still one of my favourite places to visit. South Africa, Botswana, and of course we explored the UK. I then met my husband, Doug. He worked for the UK rail network at that time and loves train travel. So nearly every weekend we would jump on a train and explore. While we have taken many road trips around the UK, if it's possible, we always try to go by train. For those of you planning train travel in the UK, Doug will be joining me in future episodes to share his knowledge, experience, and train travel tips with you. After 20 years back in the UK, the wanderlust was strong, and a few years ago we moved to Australia with our daughter. Whilst we do travel back to the UK when we can, it has been obviously rather difficult for the last 2 years, though we're really excited to be planning a 3-month trip for May, June and July this year. When I was researching and planning our trips, I realised that while there was information out there about visiting London, Scotland and even Britain, there was not much that covered the entire UK. That is England, Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland. With my background and experience of travelling as a solo traveller, single parent, family and now as an empty nester, plus having lived in the South, North and Midlands of England, combined with Doug's considerable knowledge of train travel, we decided to create a website, uktravelplanning.com. And now this podcast to help those of you planning trips to the UK. So, if you're planning a trip to the UK and are feeling excited but also a little overwhelmed or unsure, don't worry, you have come to the right place. With future episodes including tips for those planning UK train travel, a guide to visiting the historic city of York, plus an episode dedicated to essential things to know when visiting the UK, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss an episode. You will find the show notes for this episode at uktravelplanning.com/podcast, plus links to our newsletter, private UK travel planning Facebook group, and of course, lots of fantastic resources. I'd like to say bye for now. Happy UK travel planning.